The blue light from Zaid's phone lit up the dark room like a miniature sunrise. Midnight again. Another 3 hours lost to scrolling through short videos, mindlessly flicking his thumb up again, and again, and again. Something funny. Something shocking. Something new. It never ended. His Quran app? Buried 4 screens deep. Prayer reminders? Swiped away. Every once in a while, he felt the guilt creeping in, like a whisper from his own "so you were meant for more than this." But the guilt never shouted loud enough to compete with the dopamine hits. Every ping, every view, every new post seemed to drown out that tiny internal voice. He wasn't a bad guy, just drifting. Zaid used to be different. He remembered a team not so long ago when he had fire in him. He cared about the Ummah, Palestine, Uyghurs, Sudan. He posted about it, read about it. But even that faded over time. The flood of content made it easy to forget what mattered. He wasn't alone. His whole circle was just like him. Drowning in reels. Desensitized. Disconnected. Spiritually asleep. Until one night, the algorithm glitched. He wasn't sure how it happened. Maybe he paused too long on one of those old battlefield clips, but a short documentary popped up about Khalid ibn al-Walid, may Allah be pleased with him. Zaid almost swiped, but something made him stop. The title was, "Clickbait Enough, the warrior who never lost a battle, real-life Assassin's Creed?" He chuckled. Why not? One more video. But it wasn't what he expected. No dramatic slow-motion kills. No flashy transitions. Just a quiet, clear voice telling the story of a man who had been one of the fiercest enemies of Islam until he became one of its greatest defenders. Zaid had heard of Khalid before. Sure. Sword of Allah, Battle of Uhud, Yarmouk, all that, but never like this. This time, the story wasn't just about war. It was about inner war, about purpose, about struggle. The narration lingered on one moment that froze Zaid mid-scroll. When Khalid, may Allah be pleased with him, after all his victories, after all his loyalty to the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was on his deathbed, not in battle, but in a quiet room, lamenting that he would die not as a martyr on the battlefield, but on a bed. I fought in so many battles, Khalid had said, and yet here I am, dying like an old camel. May the eyes of cowards never sleep. Something about that pierced through Zaid's soul. Dying like an old camel. All the fire, all the action, all the struggle, and still the feeling of, I could have done more. Zaid couldn't sleep that night. For the first time in months, he didn't plug in his phone next to his pillow. He put it across the room. That small act felt strange, rebellious even. His fingers twitched for it. But he lay there, mind turning. He started to wonder, what would Khalid ibn al-Walid, may Allah be pleased with him, do today? Would he be doom-scrolling through politics or strategizing for change? Would he waste hours on fake outrage or actually move people with courage? Would he sit on the sidelines, waiting for inspiration, or go out and build anything that mattered? Khalid, may Allah be pleased with him, wasn't just brave. He was decisive, focused, a man who understood the battlefield of swords. Yes, but more importantly, of hearts. That's what hit Zaid hardest. The algorithm had tricked him into real reflection. Irony. For the next few days, something in him shifted. The usual content didn't hit the same. The jokes felt empty. The drama, pointless. He started deleting accounts, unsubscribing from distractions, muting people who once consumed his mind. It wasn't easy. Withdrawal is real. But he was done being a pawn in someone else's war for his attention. He started reading again. Small things, nothing crazy. A few pages of Surah, a podcast on Islamic history, a journal where he scribbled down thoughts like, what is my battlefield? And would I recognize truth if I saw it? But more than anything, Zayd kept coming back to Khalid to be pleased with him. Not because of the violence, he wasn't fascinated with war, but because of the clarity. Khalid's life wasn't perfect. He began on the wrong side of the truth. He fought against the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, at first. But when truth became undeniable, Khalid didn't rationalize or delay. He pivoted completely, with humility, with urgency. That was rare. In an age where people drown in identity confusion, Khalid had certainty. In a world that worships ambiguity, he stood with principles. He didn't just react to history, he shaped it. Zayd wanted that. Not fame, not hero status, just clarity, impact, purpose. The real battle wasn't out there. It was inside. He started looking at his life like a strategist. His phone, a weapon or a weakness. His time, ammunition. His friends, allies or distractions. His spiritual state, either armor or a gaping wound. He saw how slowly he had been numbed by convenience, by constant entertainment, by the lie that it's not that deep. It was that deep. The Ummah didn't need more critics. It needed contributors. Not just scholars and speakers, but ordinary Muslims who woke up and asked, how do I help? Not one day, today. Zayd wasn't planning to change the world. He just didn't want to die like an old camel. He rejoined a local youth group not for the vibes, but to serve. He helped with fundraising, built graphics for an awareness campaign, and even started mentoring younger guys on media literacy and faith. Nothing flashy. No viral content. Just consistent, uncomfortable, intentional work. Sometimes he still fell off. Binge-watched something dumb. Wasted time. Skipped Fajr. But he caught himself faster. Because now, in the back of his mind, Khalid's voice lived on, not literally, but in that haunting echo of regret. May the eyes of cowards never sleep. It wasn't guilt that pushed Zayd anymore. It was love. Love for a legacy he was just beginning to understand. Love for a prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who saw potential even in his fiercest enemy. Love for an ummah that deserved more than apathy. And above all, love for Allah. Years from now, maybe no one will remember Zayd. He won't go viral. He won't win awards. But maybe, if he keeps showing up, if he keeps fighting his private battles, if he keeps choosing purpose over passivity, his death won't be a quiet, wasted one. It'll be the end of a quiet, meaningful war. And that, perhaps, is the greatest legacy a young Muslim can ask for.